If I want it, I could have it. I embrace my inner alchemist. I attract all things I manifest. Bad bitch. If I want it, I could have it. I embrace my inner alchemist. I attract all things I manifest.
Peace, 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 family. How you all doing? I hope all is well with you. My name is Keisha. I'm the owner of Astrologiks, and I am your astrology coach. I just wanted to come on here to continue talking a little bit about Mars and Cancer. Now, we did already have a discussion about Mars and Cancer because it went into Cancer back in October, but now it's retrograde in Cancer as of January 6th. I believe that's this Wednesday coming up. And I thought it was important to have this conversation. I'll try not to be on here too long, but I did want to come on here and talk about it. And so basically, Mars retrograding back into Cancer January 6th, we're revisiting things from October 3rd to November 3rd, or October 5th to November 3rd, when we had the first opposition to Pluto and Capricorn. Now, remember, there will not be an opposition to Pluto this time around. We will never see Pluto and Capricorn again in our lifetime. It's important to state that. However, Mercury will move into Capricorn and it'll be opposite Mercury in Capricorn. And I don't think I'll be doing a video on that. I don't know. I haven't made up my mind yet. But I'm just telling the difference between this Mars in retrograde. And also the nodes will switch from Aries and Libra to Pisces and Virgo on the 11th, and that's going to trine Mars in Cancer because it's a water sign, right? And so we still have the Saturn Jupiter square happening. And so this is all kind of baked into this Mars and Cancer retrograde. And it's important to talk about how this might be affecting some folks. And so it could feel like deja vu because things are coming back up for review. Now we're assessing how we feel about whatever came up for us back in October to November. And so retrogrades typically can have us being really overly sensitive. We can be very defensive to other people's criticism. We can feel sleepy and get angry when we do try to take action and things don't work out. Or it could be like we could get very frustrated because there could be a lot of setbacks and delays. This is definitely going to be some arguments in the home. Be careful for health issues and health issues specifically related to stress, especially having to do with stomach because Cancer rules the stomach. And then we're definitely going to have some weather issues. I think that was one of the bigger things that was going on during October and November. I think there was the weather issues and like FEMA not coming through for them folks. And so we could see a lot of that being played out in the world stage. Trump, I did talk about this, getting assassinated for an assassination attempt for the fourth time. And this will be happening while the inauguration is taking place. So maybe there could be some delays with that, or I can only imagine the drama that's going to come with the inauguration. I believe it is on the 11th, which is the same day the node moves into Pisces. No, that's a Saturday. It would have to be a weekday, right? Don't quote me on the date. I just know the inauguration is supposed to take place sometime this month. Um, Also, there was a lot of things with the immigration stuff, so we can be reviewing a lot of those issues on the world stage. And because it's Cancer, we're definitely going to be talking about homeland, and Mars is about protecting. So, protecting our homeland. So, there's no doubt in my mind that the border situation and immigration things are definitely going to come up at this time on the world stage, as well as like I think we had a lot of leaders kind of going at it. Um, yeah, and I'll talk more about that the further we get down here. But um, Cancer is a water sign. It's ruled by the moon. So there can be a lot of emotional intensity around unresolved feelings in our Cancer area of life. Cancer rules the fourth house, and that is home, family, real estate, your home environment, nurturing, um, reminiscing the past, being emotionally secure. Um, Family get-togethers and gatherings. We're talking about history here, family trauma, generational curses, parenting, nurturing. I think I said nurturing already. Comfort, comfort food. Um, those can be really big themes, as well as cultural differences. Um, yeah, moving, people moving in, people moving out. Yeah, I feel like I could say so much more about that, but I think I pretty much covered everything. And so on the lower expression to this, Mars and Cancer can be like domestic abuse, dog fights, breaking and entering, Second Amendment issues with the immigration. I talked about that. You might just be a little bit more moodier than normal. I did talk about the menstruation for women. I know, sorry for the men listening, it's not something you really care to hear about, but it could come through very violently at this time, ladies. So hold your hats, you know. Um, there could be a lot of angry outbursts, ugly crying. You could be like really reflecting on old conflict where you had to defend yourself. This is kind of like the extension of what I was referring to when I was doing the Mars and Leo retrograde, opposite Pluto and Aquarius video where I was talking about iron sharpening iron. Now we can sit up here and focus on the lower expressions of this, the negativity of it all. And again, all those things are going to be very true. But depending on where you're at, I'm really seeing this as an opportunity to reflect on how to be mature. I mean, Cancer is opposite Capricorn. We're still talking about this Capricorn new moon we had on December 30th, you know? Um, and how can we kind of eliminate some of these issues, these bigger issues that we're going through if we want to fully engulf in Pluto and Aquarius energy the way people are talking about it, like it's some savior that's coming down to help everybody. And I hate to keep saying that, but I feel like if we do not change the way we address these lower expressions of ourselves, Pluto in Aquarius only gives people in power the opportunity to continue controlling us in a very Pluto and Aquarius way, which is through AI and technology, you know. And I think as much as all the new, innovative, cool things that AI and technology are going to bring in, and some very necessary, there's also, you know, again, there's some form of control going on there. And if we want to go to the highest vibration of Pluto and Aquarius, this is more offline, getting back to the roots of things, the old way of doing things, um, uh, enforcing or bringing back culture, morals, and ethics, and family and community, you know, and Capricorn. And the axis of Capricorn and Cancer is very much about this dynamic here. And so, you know, asking yourself, you know, what are you doing to make those changes, or to make that your reality, you know? And so, yeah, the negative parts are going to be there. You can even be realizing the people who didn't support you are the reason you're successful. You know, the lack of support, the likes, the shares, the comments, you know, the checking in on people. How are you doing? Doing business with others, sharing your gift with others, investing in your gift. You know, creating a strong foundation for you to have a service or do whatever it is you're meant to do here, to help other people. And you can really be reflecting on how people didn't do that for you, but you're still successful because you found another way. You didn't give up. Your willpower was strong, you know? And that's a positive, that's an iron sharpening iron, you know, as daunting and rude and kind of insensitive as that can sound. It's like, thank you. Thank my enemies for playing their part, playing their role. You know, they pushed you to learn how to survive another way. Um, I mean, I can give you thousands and hundreds of other examples how this can be playing out, but this is like I'm playing a trick with words, you know, change. It's like, I think the lesson here is how do we implement the higher vibration without the harsh, lower vibration feelings? You know what I mean? How do we not hold on to the pain from the lack of nurturing, the lack of support, the lack of loving care that we didn't get? You know, I think I mentioned in the Mars and Leo and Pluto and Aquarius videos, like, you know, you kind of have this viewpoint of your mom not being there for you the way that you wanted them to. Cancer also rules the mother, you know, and maybe you didn't have a safe, protected home environment. Um, Now you get the opportunity to be the mother. Now you get to be the person to incorporate a healthy, supportive, nurturing home environment. You know, switch it up a bit and ask for forgiveness for the places and spaces where you lacked to continue doing what it is necessary without the revenge, without the anger, frustration. And I can't say the sadness. I think the sadness is always going to be there, you know, but um, you grieve and then you move on, you know. Again, not to sound insensitive, but we are talking about Mars here. And even though Mars is the weaker energy and can be super passive aggressive in Cancer and It's not as strong here, but nonetheless, Mars is a fighter. He's gonna find another way to survive, you know? And so as we're going through these motions, I don't want to dismiss that and say, suck it up and, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. Go through your emotions, have your feelings, have your thoughts, feel the anger, feel the pain, but then let it go. Because Pisces moving into the North Node is really, really, really going to challenge us to let it go. And how can we do some of those things? And so, whenever I think of Capricorn and Cancer, I always think about story time. Sharing your experiences with others, especially with Gemini and Jupiter still retrograde. We still have that Saturn Jupiter square going on. And what was we learning from that? To don't judge people, hear them out and see if you could still learn something, especially when we're talking about forgiveness and being supportive, you know. Um, Listen to what people have to say, take it in, and you don't always have to have a response. You don't always have to solve a problem or fix something. Sometimes people just need to be heard. Um, but essentially, when I think of story time, I think of how this can eliminate the lack of emotional security, and where this kind of frustration and anger really stems from is not knowing the truth and having to figure out something on your own, because again, you didn't have support. You don't know how people feel about what it is you're doing when people aren't participating with you. There's some kind of fear, shame, embarrassment, feeling left out, sadness, and I think one of the ways you can eliminate that is by sharing your experience with others. Don't leave things left to the imagination. Don't leave things left unsaid. Fill in the blanks. I was watching Fat Joe talking about foundational Black Americans. He made a very derogatory comment about foundational Black Americans and stating that they did not create hip hop. And he said some other stuff that was pretty wild and crazy. But I think the foundation of what he was saying and why people might have been so upset about or offensive about what he said was that we didn't create something. We didn't create hip hop. And some of you may or may not know, Tariq Nasheed had recently made a video, another movie like he does the movies that he makes. If you're familiar with him, and forgive me for not knowing the name, but he does really great videos on foundational Black American history, storytelling. He's filling in the blanks. Um, and he did one on hip hop, and that's kind of really where uh, Fat Joe was extending his frustration and anger towards foundational Black people and other artists who may not be foundationally Black and they're from other cultures who have a stake in the hip hop industry and legacy, that he feels that they have a problem with that. And um, I feel like on a grander scale, this is what we're all experiencing in different ways for different reasons and on different levels, is that um, cancer can be an expression of his story or her story. Who's telling the story? You know what I mean? And I'm not gonna lie, up until that point when Fat Joe made that comment, I had no idea. I I'm not gonna lie, I was on Fat Joe's side. I was like, yeah, we all, everybody plays a really big part in hip hop. Like, let's just keep it a buck. But in my Mars and Leo video, opposite Pluto, just the last video I did, I made a comment in there about acknowledging that people can only express something or experience something from the point in which they've experienced it. And so by the time Fat Joe came into the hip hop era, whatever happened prior to him, that era, us, me, that includes me too, was non-existent to us, basically. We really think life just started right there, and so our morals, ethics, beliefs are based off of that from that point of origin. And so I said, before I talk about this, let me go do my research. And so I bought Tariq Nasheed's hip hop uh, video movie documentary he made. And I said, oh, I see what he did. He had conversations with people, places, and things who were doing what is considered hip hop today, well before hip hop became a brand and somebody started telling hip hop story. But Black folks don't have access to internet, to media like that. And so we weren't capitalizing on that. We were just doing it. We were just being who we are, just being great. And this is such a huge problem for all of us that I think Jupiter and Gemini, square Saturn and Pisces, now, Cancer and Leo, Mars and Cancer, Mars and Leo, Pluto and Aquarius, like these things are all infused together, really calling on us to look at it from a different perspective. Be open to hearing what people have to say before you make a decision about your life and how you plan on moving forward so that you have all the facts. And you see, this is a huge problem, which brings in, the government and the outside world and the world stage that tends to plague our everyday people existence without us really knowing it. And look at what it just infused into a really big argument. But me looking at this from an astrological perspective, on a higher vibration, Leo is all about fun and play. Mars is all about competition. And it really challenged me to think what hip hop really was and how that plays out to us. And it's friendly competition, like the great debaters. We just don't do those healthy little things anymore. We are so divided and separated, um, not just from our history and where we come from and who started what. Not that any of those things are important, by the way. We're all one family, but you can see where the anger, the frustration, the backbiting, the name calling, the disrespect, the hitting below the belt all comes in because of a lack of knowledge and not knowing who we are and not understanding the system and how it's played a huge part in our morals, ethics, and beliefs that we now consider as decisions that we make in our life and what we think about certain things. You know, how can we change that? And obviously, Tariq Nasheed did a magnificent job. If you guys haven't seen it, again, I'm sorry I don't know the name. You can Google it and find it quite easily. I would do that and really look at all the videos that he's done if you're not hip to it. It's amazing, and how much we don't get credit for the things that we do. For one, because we don't know; two, because we're so separated; and three, there's no services set up between us to have these more important connections and conversations. And so I think in the other video too, I was talking about um, the Black Panther Party and how much they did. Now, I knew and I was aware that um, the Black Panther Party came up with a lot of programs that we now use in all of our school systems and just other places and spaces. Same difference. A lot of us don't even know. I do have a list. I think I'm going to save it for the Pluto and Aquarius video because I don't have my phone. But I wrote them all down. It's fucking amazing. There were some that I never knew. The Black Panther Party did. Kwanzaa. Did you know Kwanzaa was created through the Black Panther Party? Um, you gotta go look it up. Now, another theme that I think is going to be a really big problem with this is that, well, you won't see it when you go look it up, but as I was doing some research on Kwanzaa and the Black Panther Party, it has a very dark story behind it. The creator who made that. And that was another theme that came up back in October, really up and through December, where a lot of our leaders, spiritual leaders at that, or strong leaders who got into some hot water and fire and kind of got questioned and brought to light that maybe they're not who they say they are. And there's going to be some of that. And again, the question really becomes how do we deal with that without the anger, frustration, bad mouthing, hidden below the belt, the detachment? You understand, not to say that we should allow it and not address it. That's not what I'm saying. But now this person, these people who've made great strides. I mean, Kwanzaa is a great fucking um philosophical, cultural thing. There comes a lot with that we all still use today that is extremely important to have in a community in our communities. But I think once the story comes out, there becomes that, but look at what he did, you know? Um, and that again goes back to the infiltration of the government and the system and how they play on who we are, what we're doing, and what we get credit for. Who's telling that story? It really reminds me of the P. Diddy stuff, and I really want to talk about it, but I really don't want to be on here all day. But we just have to be mindful of, these people are just human too. And I'm not saying forgive and forget. Again, that's really not what I'm saying. But at the very least, don't let the positive information that that person has come up with or created fall to the wayside. Because I think that's what happened. It broke, these kind of darker governmental things have broke our faith in those things. And we use them, but we're like shy or embarrassed to claim them because they come with a dark background. Now, fuck all of that. That's a part of the plan. We have to be careful on making judgments around that because everybody is still human. Um, Another theme, I think, going back to the friendly competition that we could be, I mean, I was reminiscing on, how we used to play outside as kids in my generation. Another problem I think that we have with the internet that's not helping us. Well, we build more social skills through making up games and making up rules for those games and learning how to share and play together. Not doing that anymore has really done us no justice. whatsoever. How can we bring those things back? You know? And when I was thinking about that, I thought, oh my God, it would be so amazing to incorporate that in your home. Like my kids are not really good with money. They don't have like street smarts like I do. These schools have completely, they don't think like their own individuals to make strong decisions. They think like consumers, like they just want to buy and consume, buy and consume. What's the newest, latest fashion and designer? And what's that doing for them? And so we play games. If I see something that they're doing that I'm like, ugh, okay, that's not gonna work for me. I'll be like, okay, let's play a game. And I will test them and put them in certain situations to challenge them to see what they would do in case of a situation. Going back to what I said in the last video too about having an evacuation plan, making sure you have extra food and you're doing all these things, which by the way, I did finally get the Uranus and Taurus video. And I added it to that last video, the links, if you want to go back and just go check out those videos. I strongly suggest you do so because Uranus and Taurus is going to have a bigger role than this. Gemini, Uranus and Gemini is coming in. Of course, we're going to see some of those changes, but Uranus and Taurus is going to be the foundation on how to grow in Uranus and Gemini. Make no mistake. We have to learn the lesson from whatever Uranus and Taurus was teaching us. It's going to be extremely vital. And so I'm not gonna lie. I did that video when I was first starting to do astrology, so you might have to skip the beginning. I swear to God, I must have repeated myself about 7 times before I got to the point, and then the freaking video cut off, so I had to do 2 videos. Don't judge me, okay? I did the best I could. I still think there's valuable information in there, and it's really worth going to check it out. Listen to some of the themes in there could be very helpful, which goes back to, what I'm talking about here. It's testing your children, doing things together as a family. You could be this could be choosing to go back to church as a family. Now, I know everybody's like doesn't go to church, but with incorporating some of these Piscean themes, which is very spiritual, or ashrams, or you know, places where you go to pray. And so if you're not like a church going person, it could be setting up Sundays, um, Sunday school, or a spot in your house where you can meditate. Um, This could be spiritually protecting your home, like paying homage to elders and people who came before you with an altar, or just pictures. And again, storytelling, it's going to be different for everybody. Doing some water healing things, taking bath soaks, cleansing and clearing your home. Um, Decluttering your home and giving the clothes and things away, like having a yard sale. I think it's too cold. Is not the time of year for yard sales, but um, you can donate. You can declutter, cleanse, and donate. You know, you can swim. They have indoor swimming places. I don't know what other places, you go to swim, but spas, I guess. Um, Getting some kind of um uh yeah, whatever. What do they call those things? Is it jacuzzis? It's not spiritual, but it feels good. It's nurturing. And so these could be things that people are doing at this time. Um, this could also be exercising more, going for walks more, especially if you're noticing yourself getting really angry about certain things. People could be deciding to move out of the country with all the immigration stuff going on, or doubling up on the security for the home invasions or break-ins or whatever you want to call it. Um, like getting a dog or home security system. This could even be learning how to fight, learning how to protect yourself. Mars is about fighting. Okay. This could also be just moving in general. It could be to another state. It doesn't have to be outside of the country. Um, and again, learning how to be self-loving, and knowing that you don't have to be mean, um, or you can be self-loving and still be supportive without in ways that aren't necessarily trying to fix somebody. I guess that's a good way to put this. You know, um, yeah. I mean, I feel like I can say so much more about this, but I think you guys get the picture. I really, really, really hope this information was helpful. As usual, family, I love and appreciate you. Peace.